Hello, and welcome to the People Chronicles Storied Women. My name is Anna Rose Angara Milch, and I am your host. I am also the author of Lunch with Lucille. Lunch with Lucille is the story of how one woman's life impacted another woman's, how the women in that book changed an adversity in their life to make it an advantage. So what we do is we bring women from our community to talk about how they took an adversity in their life and made it an advantage, and where they are at this point in their life. So today, my special guest is Yoheli Ortiz. Welcome, Jo.
Thank you.
And she's going to share with us things that have gone on in her life, and so that we can learn how she got to be where she is today. So my first question to you, and you know that's the question that everybody gets, is what is it that you want the takeaway to be?
So what I want the takeaway to be is how I would say my faith has gotten me to where I am today. So whether or not we know that everybody goes through things in life, right? And what keeps us going, right? So for some, it could be their kids. For some, it could be their parents. For some, it could be some friends. For me, it has always been my faith. My faith in God has really led me to where I am today.
Wonderful. I think that's a really good message, because faith, we always say that faith makes things possible.
That's
and
right.
Love makes them easier. That's kind of, yeah. And family is why we do it.
That's right.
So my question to you then is, just tell us a little bit about how your life changed early on in your teen years, because I think that's probably a pivotal time for you. For all of us, our teen years have been a pivotal time.
Oh, my teen years. If I could go back, right? We always say that, right? If we could go back.
You're
but
right,
so at the age of 14, I had my son. He's now 17 years old.
So that makes you 31?
That makes me 31.
Okay.
Yes. So I had him in my teen years. So, to be a teen and then to also raise a child, I would say it was some adversity there. It never stopped me. It never stopped me. I used to get people say, "Oh, well, she's so young." Even now, when I say how old my son is, they're like, "What? that would make you like?" And I'm like, "Yes, a teen mom. Yes,
yeah.
I know."
Yeah.
But it has been quite a struggle with that, because you say how old you are, and then you say how old your kid is, and right away they're like, "Oh, well,
so people
that was really young." So they start to judge.
Yeah,
they start to judge and things like that. But I would say that's never kept me from going and continuing to provide for them. I mean, they're, like I said earlier, my faith and my kids really keep me going.
That's wonderful. So you have this child, and you're 14 years old, and you're in high school, correct?
Correct.
And you graduate high school?
I did.
That's wonderful. So your family pitched in and helped out?
Yes, I would say my mom and my dad really took up the majority of the responsibility as far as taking care of my child while I went to school. I mean, my dad worked full time at that time, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So she practically raised my younger son, my oldest. I'm sorry, my oldest. I have two, so it's hard to keep track of that. So they've helped me out a lot in life, and I would say I am where I am today because of all the support and all the help that they've given me.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And I think you make a good point, because we all need help.
That's right.
We all need help, and we just have to ask.
That's right. And it's and that's one thing. It's so hard to ask for help. Especially for women, we're like very prideful.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh no, I don't need help. I got this." No, you don't. You can ask. It's okay.
And it's amazing when you ask. People are always saying, "Sure, I'll help."
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think our fear is that they'll say no.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. That's very true. So so you have your child. You graduate high school, which is totally admirable, and then you found employment.
I did. So when I graduated, I was working at TJ Maxx at the time. I think I worked there for about 2 years, and then I said, I need something different. I need some like a change. Then I started working at Dooney and Burke. I mean, doesn't like handbags. And at that time, I was not a handbag lover. So
did they give you a discount?
For sure, yes,
Okay.
yes, and it was a very generous discount too. So,
wow.
But then I just would always say to myself, like, there has to be more. Like, there's more. Like, this can't be it. The retail life, working holidays, working weekends,
Yeah.
working nights. So then I actually had another job. So I worked 2 jobs for about 6 years during that time, and that was hard, to leave one to go to the other one. So I didn't have much time with my son as much as I would have loved to, but I knew that I had to provide for him because I was the only one he had. So
That's wonderful.
so that was some rough times. And just making ends meet for him, and again, thanks to the support of my family, I was able to do that.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have 3 sisters and 1 brother.
Oh, okay. So it's just not you. You're just
Yeah,
not it.
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby of the family.
Okay. All right. So you get that job. So it sounds to me like you really, even though you have a child early in your teens, and as I say, a child having a child,
Mm-hmm.
you have really set yourself on a real trajectory. I mean, you have taken control of the future as much as you can.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I try. I wouldn't say I always have it together because I definitely don't. But yeah, I always want to learn more. I know that there's more, and I know my dad, he was set on working at a job and staying there for all these years, and I look at him, I'm like, how could you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even stay that long. He's like, well, when you have to provide, it's like kind of that sense of security.
Yes.
I'm more of a risk taker, I would say. And my parents are like, you just need to stay where you're at, just stay put. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's a different mindset,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One of the diamonds the diamonds that I wear from the Lunch with Lucille, it's called the Jewel of Inspiration. The 3rd diamond is to take control of the future. And so some people thinking that to take control of the future is to stay exactly where you are. It's like it's stable, and if that's it, that works for them.
Yeah.
And other people's is to keep moving on and to find where that contentment comes from, where that joy, wherever we are, that brings us joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, so then you spoke about another child that you had.
Yes, my youngest is 11, and I had, oh goodness, back in 2008. So it was 3 years after I graduated. 2 years after I graduated. So I was about 20, 21 when I had him. And that was a struggle. And that's, I had him with my husband. And me and my husband met actually when I worked at McDonald's. So that was a very, he helped me out a lot with my oldest son too, because when we met, my oldest son was about 2 years old, but we didn't have Jawan until I was about like 21. So I met him at the age of 16.
Oh, okay. And then you ended up marrying?
Yes, and I ended up marrying him at the age of 24, 25.
Just
24,
you do
25.
everything a little bit on your own schedule.
Yeah, I don't go by a clock. That's for
good.
sure.
That's taking control of your future.
For
I like
sure.
it. I like it.
I mean, and I didn't, I said to him, I said, I think I'm okay with one. And he was like, no, I need to, we need to have another one. And so when JJ was about 6 years old, that's when I had my youngest.
Okay. And so tell us then what happened with the marriage.
So so at the age of 30, he was diagnosed with cancer. So we did get married in 2012, and then in 2014 is when he passed away from throat cancer. I don't know how to say the medical terminology, but yeah, so that was a rough time for us 2014 was just a rough year for me as well, because I lost my 3rd child. And then a few months later, we find out my husband has cancer. So that was a very trying year for me, I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely say trying year for everybody that surrounded you too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Yoheli, I mean, where do you find that strength?
Whew. Where do I find that strength? Well, my strength, like I mentioned earlier, the takeaway is my faith, is believing in God and knowing that you're not alone, that you do have the support, whether it be from your family, your friends, and any things of that nature. So I would say my faith in God has really kept me grounded and gives me strength. Do I have my moments where I'm struggling? Yes, absolutely. That I'm crying. There are days I don't want to get up. There's days, but every day, I say I take it one day at a time, and whatever that day brings, I try to make the best of it.
Yeah. You are a remarkable woman.
Thank you.
You really are remarkable. And I know now that you are working.
I work at Pennsylvania CareerLink as a bilingual instructor. At the moment, I did switch roles, but so again, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Is it going to be my end job? Probably not. I'm into growing and learning and helping the community and being involved in any way that I can.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
And evolving. That's just my. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up yet. So.
Well, you can join the club, right? That's what we do here. I mean, we're all learning. I mean, it's all part of the growth process.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that we talk about in Lunch with Lucille is about persistence. Is just putting that one foot in front of the other and keeping it up and keeping it up and keeping it up, and to realize that opportunity comes our way, and then we're ready for it.
That's right.
And I think that you share a really great message, because you tell us that it doesn't matter if you're 14 years old and something happens to you. It doesn't matter if you're 21 years old and something happens to you. It doesn't matter if you're 30 years old and something happens to you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You have that deep faith and that deep trust in people, and you continue on. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's it. That truly is having that belief, having that faith in better days. Yes. And understanding when you have the good days that are right in front of you.
And just knowing that during those tough days, you do have people that care. Like I know sometimes we feel as though we're alone in the world and we're doing everything by ourselves, but we're really not. We're not. God is with us every day. But our friends are also there praying for us, uplifting us and things like that. So because I have that, I can say I haven't fallen too deep in a pit that I couldn't get out of.
Sure.
But even when I did feel like I was in a pit, they were right there, right alongside me, crying, holding me, So it's like I was never alone, even when I felt like I was.
Yeah, I think that's a great message to remember, that we are never alone.
No,
we are
never.
And I appreciate you coming in and sharing your story with us.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
You are a true inspiration. And I thank you very much. And I thank you for watching.
Thank you.